Hi there. Today I'm going to go over the installation of mobile on version 9 of AspDotNetStorefront ML, and these directions will also apply to the multi-store version, and in fact I'm installing this on multi-store right now. So before we get started, you're going to need an installation package, which I've already got. Actually got that right here. And that'll just come in the form of an executable file that you'll get in an email once you purchase mobile. You'll also need to get a mobile license key, which I've got here, and in that same email you'll get directions on how to obtain a license key. You're going to need admin access to your site, obviously, and I've got that open on this other tab over here. So you want to log into the admin side before you get started. And before you can install the mobile commerce plugin on ML or multi-store, you're going to need the admin service pack as well as SP1 installed. So make sure in the patch information section of your site you see both of these things that I've got on my screen. And you're also going to need to make sure you've got write access to the web config. So right here you've got a little notice. So one of our security practices is to remove write access when your site's up and running. So before you do your installation, you'll have to allow write access to the web config. And if you need to work with your hosting provider to do that, they should be able to help you out. And if you're not familiar with that, I'm sure they can point you in the right direction. And then you'll need FTP access to the site. So I've got that here. And that's about all you'll need. Other than that, before any major deployment to your website, you should have a backup of your database, and I recommend a full site backup of all the files. I'm not going to cover those two things, but always a good idea. You want to be able to get back to where you started if anything goes wrong. Okay, so I'm all ready to go here. So the first thing to do is to figure out what skins you've got installed on your website. So I'm going to go into the app themes directory, and you can see here there's a skin 1 and skin 2. And this is actually the out-of-the-box mobile skin that comes with version 9. So we're going to be installing a new skin. I'm actually going to put it in skin 3, and that'll be important later, so you'll want to remember that number. And I'll show you later how to change your mobile skin ID. So if you don't have a skin 3, then it doesn't matter, just so long as you know the number. Alright, so first let's unpack our installation file. So you want to run this. And let's find a nice place to put it. Okay. And you hit next and it'll just unpack it. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is make a backup of our site. Well, let's take a look at this installation package. And in here you've got two things. You've got additional files, additional files and merged files. So the additional files are new files being added to your website, and the merged files are files that are already there that we're going to have to merge some changes into. So I've got a full backup of my database and a full backup of my site's files, but I also like to do a backup of just these merged files. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this directory and create a new backup directory. And paste it in there. And the reason I do that is because this will just guide me and tell me which files it is I need to back up. So back over in FTP, if I update that, I can start to make my backup. So I know I need files out of app code, so let's go in there, and I need to find show entity as well as skin base, and back those up. I'm looking for show product. .aspx.cs, make sure you get the right one there. I'll back that up. And of course the web config, that's the important one. You want to make sure you've got a backup of that. Okay, so now I've got some backup files. Close that. So the next step, I need to merge my mobile changes into our existing site files. So I'm going to make yet another folder here, and this is going to serve as our deployment package. And into the deployment package, I'm going to start with merged files from the backup, and then out of the installation package, I'm going to grab the additional files. And copy those in. Okay, at this point you'll want to make sure you have a merging program like WinMerge or Beyond Compare. I'll be using Beyond Compare. It's just handy for finding the differences between files. So what I'm going to do is go into the installation package and right click on the merged files and select that as my left folder to compare. I'm going to go into the deployment package and then compare those two folders to each other. And start comparing them. And then this program just shows that there are differences between these files. So I'm going to go through these one by one and take a look at the differences. The reason we recommend diffing this way is because you may find changes in these files that aren't our mobile changes. You may have modifications to your website, and we don't want to completely overwrite those modifications just to install mobile. So if you see lines when you're doing this that are different than what you find in this video, those are probably modifications you made to your site. Each of these lines will be referenced online on the manual, and so you can identify which ones are mobile and which ones aren't. So just one difference in show entity page there. I'll close that, save it, and close it. Open up skin base. And there's quite a few changes here. That's a mobile change, as well as this. We're going to remove that line. And comment that one out. And move that over as well. So I moved all those changes in, and I'm going to save the right file and close it. Move that over. Move this line over. Save the right file. Close that. So far, we've been just moving all the changes that we find over into our deployment package. If you know for a fact that you've got just out of the box 9013 or multi-store, you should be able to do the exact same thing. You could actually just drop these files right in if you wanted to. With the exception of the web config. The web config will have your encrypt key at the top, at the very least, is a difference, and the data source or the connection string here. So those will definitely be different than what you find here. And this here is a mobile change, so we'll move that in, this browser caps node, as well as this mobile namespace. So I'll move those two into the web config, save the right side, and close it. So now I've successfully merged all of our changes into our deployment package. And then after that, you'll want to just, I'm still in the deployment package here, you'll want to go into the additional files. And remember, I know I'm trying to deploy to Skin 3, so I'm just going to rename this. Skin 2 is the default mobile installation, but I've got multiple stores and I'm using Skin 2 already for my second store. So the mobile skin is going to be Skin 3. So all you need to do is rename that. I'll go into app themes as well. And I'll rename that to Skin 3. And now I'm ready to go. So I've got a deployment package, and in it are my additional files. I changed the skin ID, and in the merge files are all of my site's changes, so I can go ahead and deploy this now. So at this point, if it's been a while, you want to make sure you're still logged into the admin site. So in fact, I did get logged out. Go ahead and log back in and take a look at the front end. I'll refresh that. Okay, so we're ready to go. Back to the FTP program. And we'll want to go into our deployment package. So I recommend starting with your additional files and moving those in. So I'll go into additional files. And once you start deploying, certain files will actually take your site down. Those that won't are your skin. So it's safe to move the skin up first. I prefer to do that because the skin files are actually pretty large. So they take some time. So I want to minimize the amount of downtime for the site. So I'm going to move up Skin 3, in my case. You may have a different one, into the app templates folder. And then I'm going to go up to app themes and move Skin 3 in from there as well. And this is the one that'll take a little longer. This is all the images. Okay, so now that the skin is up there, we can begin the deployment. So first I'll start with the app browsers folder. I'm going to move in this BlackBerry browser. Into app code. Move those files in. App templates and app themes I've already taken care of. Go to the bin folder. And we'll move in the DLLs. And then you'll just want to grab the rest of these. Make sure they go in the right directory. Move those over. So that takes care of the additional files. Now we need to pull the merged files in. So back into app code. move those in. And then we'll pull over show product as well as the web config. Okay, that's it. That's the deployment. Let's take a look at our site. It'll take a little bit to reload. The site has to rebuild itself. Okay, so far so good. And then the same will be true of the back end. It will have to rebuild itself as well. I'm going to go ahead and refresh that, get that started. So the first thing you want to do from the front end of the site, you'll want to initialize mobile. And we do that by going to mobileGo.aspx. And that'll just reload the page and take you back to the home page. And what that does is it actually generates app config parameters for mobile, and it will create a couple mobile topics as well. So at that point you'll want to go to the back end of the website, go to configuration. Actually, let's reset the cache just for good measure. And then you'll want to go to configuration, advanced, and app config parameters. And in the search box you'll want to look for mobile. And I'm going to search for mobile dot. Okay, and you'll find one near the bottom here, mobile.license key. That's where you want to put your mobile license key. That's going to allow mobile to work properly. I'm just going to copy that. And we'll paste the license key in and save it. So far so good, and then we want to find the skin ID, mobile.skin ID. And you can see by default it's set to 2. That's not what I want. We'll change that to 3. Hit save. Okay, and then again it's good to reset the cache, make sure those app config parameters take effect. And then back to the front end of the site, I'm going to go ahead and test it out. So again, we'll want to hit Mobile Go. And now that we've got a license key installed, we'll see the mobile version of the website. So what we're looking at here is actually your site's departments. And then if you click down here on Shop Default Store, you'll actually see a listing of all categories. So if you don't use departments, your homepage will be quite a bit simpler than this. It'll just have shop and then your store name with a link to all your categories. So at this point I want to customize the logo a little bit, and I'll just jump right into how to do that. So back in our deployment package, you'll want to go into additional files, and then the template file is where the logo is located. So you'll want to go into the app templates and open up your skin. And I'm just going to edit this with Notepad. And if you scroll down just a bit, you'll find this ID fixed header logo. That's the logo of the mobile side of the site. Oops. Got a little too much. There we go. So in here you can either type your store's name in here, or you can add your own image, add your own logo. So I'll save that. And then we'll go to the additional files, app templates, skin 3 in my case. And push up our new template. Okay, there you go. So that's about all there is to it. That's how you install mobile on either multi-store or version 9 of ASP.NET Storefront. Thanks a lot.